development. We have a lot of little kids here, so I know this is a special thing that every parent needs to be aware of, and a lot of you are probably very well informed, but I'm still here just to make you think a little bit more. So let's get started. Here we go. I just introduced myself. This is my 6th year at Menese. I'm the academic coordinator there. I graduated from Cleveland State University, and I'm also certified in classroom management and early childhood education from Pennsylvania State. Okay, welcome to the Child Expo. You guys are all here. You guys probably been here for a while. What I'm going to talk about in this presentation is environmental factors and how it affects your child, family input, developmental delays, social skills, and physical skills. So we're going to target these 5 key points into how we can work with our children to work on their early childhood development. How does the environment influence a child's growth and development? This is really important because, they do say that we are a product of our environment, and sometimes it could be a negative environment and sometimes it could be a positive environment. So I know we're all here today to give our children a positive environment. And how can this happen? It could happen from home. Of course, we want to make our homes a positive environment for our children as far as developmental skills, as far as language, whatever you as a parent are looking for. Also, schools are very important. So I know that's why you guys are all here looking for a school that is able to accommodate what you want your child to do in the future. And wherever your child spends a majority of their time, it could be at a club, it could be at an extracurricular activity. That's why it's very important to look for what you are trying to target in order to help your child with early development. A productive learning environment starts at home. Yeah, we all say this, and this is so true because you are your child's first teacher. This is where children learn from, and this is where they mimic the behavior. They see mom and dad doing something, so yeah, they're going to go ahead and they're going to do the same thing. And a lot of times we feel that this doesn't affect our children, but it really does. So you want to have an environment where your child is able to learn from you in a positive way. And yes, we all have some negative factors, it's okay, but what we are focusing on is to try to overcome this so we could help our children. How can we do this? Well, there's 2 solutions. We can always encourage them to ask questions and look for their own solutions. We want to build critical thinking early in our children, so always give them options. Don't say you have to do this, because we don't want somebody to tell us what to do, and a lot of times your child doesn't want to. That's why they retaliate. That's why they say, no, I'm not going to do this. So if you give them an option like, hey, which one do you want? The red or the orange? They're going to surprise you and they're going to say, okay, this is what I want. So we want to install critical thinking in our children at a young age. And another thing, don't be afraid to let your children get messy. Yeah, a lot of times you want to keep them so clean and no, don't touch this, don't finger paint, and don't do this, but it's okay. This is how they learn. This is how they build social skills. This is how they develop. So we want to give them as much stimulation as possible in those early years, anywhere from 10 months to 3 years of age. Developmental delays. I've been seeing a lot of this in my 10 years of working in the educational field, developmental delays. And what is one of the issues with developmental delays? I know everybody's talking about this. Yes, it really is technology. Technology is great and awesome, and we're all into it, but this has a bad impact on our children. So a lot of the easiest stuff that you can do in helping your children is to try to limit that time of technology. You can teach and learn a lot through technology, but the best concept that there is blocks, it's Play-Doh, it's hand paint, it's that coloring book to work on those motor skills. So we don't want to focus on our children in regards to just technology helping us raise our children. We want to help them as far as to reach those those aspects to help them in developmental delays. And the most difficult thing that I have seen some kids challenge with is language. You know, when my son was very small, and this was like 12 years ago, my cousin came to my house and I was talking to him, and he was only 3 months old, and I was like, okay, come on, let's go look out at the window. Oh, do you see that red car? And she looked at me and she said, what are you doing? He doesn't understand you. Are you nuts? And I said, no. I said, because this is how I'm going to teach my child language. This is how I'm going to teach him that we have a conversation and communication. And a lot of times parents just don't speak to their kids till they're about like 10, 11 months old. And you have to stimulate their brain. Yeah, they're sleeping a lot, but you have to get them going. And that's where we go into speech and language. And more in the last 2 years, I've seen a lot of kids with developmental delays in speech and language because they are not having open conversations. They are stuck to the TV or the iPad, and they're not talking to anybody. And this is where you as a parent, you know, can help your child. The most important thing is early language. And when your kids are always just like babbling and blah, 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 and saying all that stuff that doesn't make any sense, this is actually communication and conversation that your child is having with you. And you at the, 10 months, 11 months, 12 months, it's very important to communicate back with your children. Physical skills, and this is also one crucial part. You know, we want to get our kids going. Motor skills, fine motor skills, gross motor skills is very important. And this is the abilities that we work on through drawing, through writing, and it involves all their small bodies, to get going. Sometimes we see kids that are not coordinating right because, a lot of the times they're just sitting down, they're not getting enough attention, they're not getting enough stimulation. So us as parents, we get them going through, activities and as far as working on their motor skills. Social skills. Social skills has become a norm these days. I see a lot of little ones coming and they have this anxiety and they don't want to be around anybody. And we're getting in that stage where technology is really taking over. And we have to let our kids get out. I had a friend who told me, I love my kids, I just don't like other people's kids. And it's like, no, because that's how they learn. They're going to fight, and it's okay because your child needs to learn how to be around other people and how to work in situations by themselves without mom being there, the big mama bear taking care of them all the time. And social skills happen very early. It's very important for teachers, for social events, for your children, and it influences their mental ability and their wellness. They get into grade 5 and 6 and they're not able to focus or to develop right socially. And we want our kids academically to be great. Yeah, that's fine, but their social well-being is more important than anything else. So try to get them out there and let them explore life, and don't always, try to tell them, stay away from this one and stay away from that one. How will they learn what is right and what is wrong if they don't experience it themselves? Okay, here we go. These are things that I like to talk to my children about, and I always tell my friends about. Communication. We can always teach our children early in life how to communicate. They should take turns. Eye contact is very important. They should always be giving people eye contact, because how do we know that they're listening? How do we know that they're focusing? And a lot of times I see children who are not giving eye contact. Following directions and rules. Following direction and rules is important. We want them to stand out and speak out for themselves, but we also want to build some type of discipline in order to follow directions and rules and to be a productive member of society. We want them to be assertive. If your child feels something is not fair, we need to teach them at a young age to speak out for themselves, It's okay if they thought that the teacher didn't do this right, or if mom, oh my gosh, I didn't think this was right. We don't want to break them down because, the outspoken children become outspoken individuals and become leaders in our community. Empathy. It's very important to let children have empathy for one another. They need to feel it, deep inside if somebody is sad or hurt. And to encourage them to work with a child who they feel that, maybe a little bit different or sad or doesn't have any friends. Because this is something very important for them to build in life. And engagement. Teach them how to make friends. Tell them, just go to somebody who's just sitting there on the playground with nobody around and say, hi, do you want to be my friend? Do you want to play? Sometimes that kid would say no, and it's okay. It's not a big deal. Go to the next kid. You have to teach your children to be social, because if you don't, they're just going to be closed up. And that's not a good way, you know, in a productive life or in society. And self-control. Sometimes, even us, we get overexcited. And even at school, sometimes they get overexcited as far as bullying or getting teased. And this is always no. But the whole thing about self-control is when you teach your child, you know, don't overexcite yourself. Take things with ease, you know? If somebody is saying something that is not right, you know it's not right, stand up for yourself, but don't overwhelm yourself, because this is never a positive thing. Social activities and hobbies. Now, this is very important. Like I said, we are really focused on academics, but we want our kids to have their own activities and their own hobbies. And this can build student self-esteem, self-confidence. Students learn to work in teams and groups, and that's the most important thing of working in teams and groups. Students work on their motor skills. Students develop hobbies and interests on their own. Let's say you want your child to go and learn how to play soccer, and your son doesn't want to play soccer. Of course, you should let him finish up that role, and you know, if you paid for it, at the soccer program. But afterwards, let them explore different things, because you know, every child is an individual, and just because you might like something doesn't mean your child might like the same things. Okay, here are some projects that kids are doing, and the one important factor here is targeting teamwork, always focusing on teamwork, because even in society, we focus on teamwork. So if we start at a young age, you know, and we build it up, and I have a lot of times at school that some kids are like, I can't work with that one, no. And I'm like, oh, really? Well, you know, this is what's gonna happen afterwards. We have to at least try to work, because that's the most important factor of society. Arts and crafts. Get your kids in any programs, any after-school activities, any clubs. You know, we want them to be academically aware, and we want everybody to get the full mark of the straight A's, but we want them also to be social. Again, PE and every other type of activities as far as physical activities is very important for children's well-being. Social events, getting your kids socializing. We don't want to just let them, you know, be closed-minded and be stuck to the technology, and we're repeating ourselves, but this is also very important. Let them get out and going and exploring the world. Well, I'm really happy that I was able to talk to you guys, and there's a lot of things going on right now. I'm happy that I had this chance to just talk to you guys about early childhood development, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.